Welcome to another episode of Pursuing Wisdom. My name is Robert Davis, and today we're going to look at the correct outline to the book of Revelation. Revelation 1:19 is the undisputed key to the book of Revelation. The key consists of three parts: the things that thou hast seen, the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter. In simple English, it's the past, the present, and the future. When we look at the 7 letters to the churches, no one thinks this belongs to the past, even though the letters were written almost 2,000 years ago. So to put it in perspective, the past represents the Old Testament era, the present represents the church age, and the future is anything after the rapture. The book of Revelation is not one big vision given to John, but it is in fact 4 different visions. Every time John says he was in the Spirit, it denotes a new vision. The visions include the judgment of the church, the judgment of the world, the judgment of Babylon, the 2 beasts, and Satan, and last, there is the post-judgment vision of the new heaven and earth. Immediately, we can see the judgment of the church, which are the 7 letters, belongs to the present dispensation. No one disputes this fact. We can also see without any study, the post-judgment, which is the new heaven and earth, belong to the future. 7 is the number for temporary or dispensational completeness. In the main vision, there are 7 seals, 7 trumpets, and 7 bowls. They match up with the past, the present, and the future. Okay, now we have our framework in place. The past is separated from the present by the day of Pentecost, and the present is delineated from the future by the rapture of the church. Now we can easily begin to put things in their proper place. The 7 letters we know belong to the church age. In chapter 6, we have the 7 seals, and they represent the Old Testament era. The vision of the 144,000 in between the 6th and 7th seal means it belongs to the past. Notice I did not include the great multitude. The great multitude represents the church. Their true relationship is shown in Revelation chapter 14. Chapters 10 and 11 take place between the 6th and the 7th trumpets, which means they are part of the present. In chapter 10, John eats the little book. This is the prophecy of Revelation, so it makes sense that it's placed in the church age. In chapter 11, the 2 witnesses also belong to the church age. This should help us with their identity. The rapture of the church takes place with the 7th trumpet ending the church age. In chapters 12 through 15 fall in between the trumpets and the bowls. This means they are supplemental to the past and or present, but they do not relate to the future because the 7 bowls have not started yet. In chapter 12, I have the woman. I placed her in the past and the present because she births the Messiah, the man-child, which is the first advent of Christ. However, at the end of the chapter, there is a war on earth with her seed and those who have the testimony of Jesus Christ, which is the church. Next, we have the 2 beasts of chapter 13. They belong in the past, present, and I also placed them in the future because they show up again in chapter 17. In chapter 14, the 144,000 are now identified as the first fruits. Back in chapter 7, we saw the 144,000 and the great multitude together with nothing separating them. Now, we see the gospel is proclaimed in between these 2 groups, which is the church age. This tells us we have placed the 144,000 and the great multitude correctly. Due to the placement of the rapture, we can see the 2 witnesses are either the great multitude or they're part of it. In chapters 17 and 18, we have the great harlot added next to the 2 beasts. This is because she rides the 7-headed beast, so she must be placed wherever they are placed. In chapter 19, we have the marriage supper of the Lamb. It takes place after the rapture and therefore belongs to the future. In chapter 20, the millennium occurs, which is the 1,000-year reign of Jesus on earth. It cannot belong to the past, so I placed it both in the present and the future with a question mark. In chapter 21 and 22, the new heaven and new earth are unquestionably in the future. The same holds true for New Jerusalem. It also belongs to the future. Now we're done. We have been able to place everything in its proper dispensation without an in-depth study. Now we have a foundation we can build on. This will help us weed out erroneous interpretations. Congratulations! Now you have the tools you need to separate fact from fiction concerning the book of Revelation. As the Bible says, study to show yourself approved unto God. If you want to fill in the details of this framework, then read The Final Message, Understanding the Book of Revelation. I have poured over 20 years of research into this latest version of the book. Thank you for watching. I ask that you help me grow this channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, be blessed.